Welcome, I'm Ursula Bailey, and in today's video I'm going to be teaching you the easiest astral projection method there is. This technique is perfect for beginners, so stay tuned. So in my last video, I talked about sleep paralysis and how I used the sleep paralysis state as a launch pad for astral projection. Sleep paralysis is the easiest possible way to astral project. However, not everyone experiences sleep paralysis on a regular basis. So today's technique is all about how you can induce sleep paralysis so that you too can use that state as a launch pad for astral projection. This technique is known as the indirect method. And don't worry, sleep paralysis is nothing to be afraid of. As I mentioned in my last video, it's simply a point of instant manifestation. So as long as you are controlling your thoughts and feelings, as long as you're coming to it from a place of relaxation, you will be perfectly fine. This technique is going to take a little bit of dedication. It will work best if you do it on a night where you don't have work in the morning or you don't have anything else important going on. Try to keep the next day free because you're probably going to be tired and you're going to need that time to recuperate. This technique is going to mess with your natural sleep cycle, and not only that, when you're astral traveling it can be quite full on and you're not going to feel as rested as what you usually would after an 8-hour sleep. So the first thing you want to do is during the day you want to set the intention and really start to prime yourself for astral projection. A lot of it depends on what mood you've been in during the day, so I often find that if I'm not feeling the best, then I won't astral project that night. I find that astral projection works best when you have really clear intentions. I am going to astral project tonight. Try and say this to yourself a few times throughout the day or just whenever you remember so that you can really get it locked into your subconscious mind. So the next thing you want to do is set an alarm. I usually find that 3 hours after you've gone to sleep works perfectly. So for example, if you go to bed at 9, then you're going to want to set an alarm for 1 a.m. If you're really dedicated, then you could set an alarm for another 4 hours later. So go to sleep at 9 p.m, wake up at 1 a.m, wake up again at 5 a.m. Again, the idea is that we really want to mess with our sleep schedule a little bit so that we can induce that sleep paralysis. Bedtime rolls around, you just want to go to sleep as normal. When your first alarm goes off, you're going to get out of bed and go and try and wake yourself up a little bit. Now you're going to feel super drowsy and part of you is going to think, oh, this is not worth it, I'm going to go back to sleep. If you are feeling super drowsy, then you are in the perfect state to astral project. I've found that if you do wake up after those 3 hours and you feel super energized, that for some reason it doesn't seem to work as well. So one idea is if you're using your phone as an alarm, maybe put your phone up somewhere else in the room so that you physically have to get up to turn the alarm off. Usually when I do this technique, I try to do things that are going to wake me up but not take too much mental ability. So the last thing you want to do is start scrolling on your phone. This is just going to fill your mind up with a whole bunch of crap and you really want to come to this with a very pure perspective. So go and splash a little bit of water on your face, go to the bathroom, have a glass of water. Sometimes if I'm feeling particularly sleepy, then I might do some stretches or some yoga. The other thing I find helpful is to sit down and write in a dream journal about anything you remember from the last 3 hours. So you want to keep yourself awake for about 15 minutes before you go back to bed. When you do go back, try and fall back to sleep on your back. For some reason, this seems to be the most effective way to induce sleep paralysis, and saying that, I have induced sleep paralysis on my sides before and even on my stomach, although I definitely find it easiest when I go back to sleep lying on my back. So as you're lying down and starting to fall back to sleep, there is another astral projection method that you could do during this time. We call that the direct method. However, I'm not going to go through that in this video just because I think it's a little bit more advanced and I really want to keep this beginner friendly. However, if you do want to learn about the direct method, make sure you subscribe because I will definitely cover that in another video. So there's no trick to this. Basically, all you want to do is let yourself go back to sleep on your back. So what I find usually happens is you start to drift off, and it's almost like as soon as you start to have a little dream come through, you wake up and you find yourself in sleep paralysis. Now when this happens, the first thing you'll notice is that you're awake, you're fully conscious, you're in your bedroom, but your body's paralyzed. In the sleep paralysis state, things can get kind of weird. Sometimes you're going to have hallucinations and they might not always be pleasant, but just remember that none of this is happening in your physical reality. It's simply a non-physical representation of your current thoughts and feelings. Now, this is really important. During the sleep paralysis state, we want to really try and stay relaxed and positive. To do this, just focus on your breathing, and if you like, you can repeat some affirmations in your mind like, I am safe, I am protected, things like that. The next thing that's going to happen is that you're likely going to feel some vibrations through your body. This doesn't happen all the time, but it is a really common occurrence. So usually you're going to feel it most intensely in your head, and it's going to feel like a buzzing. You might also be able to hear the change of vibration, and sometimes it can be really loud. It could even sound like a jet engine. Don't worry about it, just relax through it. This is completely normal. So once you feel the vibrations are nice and strong, you're going to focus on an exit technique. And again, keeping this super beginner friendly, we are going to focus first on the rollout method. In my opinion, the rollout technique is the easiest way to get out of body once you're already in the vibration or the sleep paralysis state. So keep in mind that your body is going to be paralyzed and that you can't actually roll out of bed, but at the same time, really try and recreate that motion within your mind. Imagine how it feels to roll. Again, as I said, astral projection is really focused on how you set your intentions. So as soon as you set your intention to roll out of body, that's going to help. Then just focus on the physical sensation, what it would feel like to roll out of bed, and it's as easy as that. Once you have rolled out of body, it's up to you how you wish to spend the rest of your astral projection experience. If this is your first time, it's probably going to be a little bit short. It does take some practice. However, the more you use this technique, the longer you'll be able to stay out of body. This technique is not perfect. Sometimes you won't get straight into the sleep paralysis state. If that happens, don't worry about it. If you've set your alarm for another 4 hours, then that gives you another opportunity. Otherwise, try it again the next night. Most people will say that they'll use it and they'll be able to achieve astral projection straight away, but for some people it might take longer, maybe a week or two. Alternatively, some people find that this technique works best when they take a daytime nap as opposed to breaking up their sleep during the night. So if you feel like you're sleeping too soundly throughout the night, even after waking yourself up, then try again by breaking up your sleep pattern with a daytime nap. For me, if I have a nap during the day, I don't experience sleep paralysis as much as I do at nighttime. However, every now and then, if I'm too tired and I take a nap during the day, I will astral project this way as well. One experience I had recently was when I was meditating in the middle of the day. I decided to do an experiment, and I usually don't do these only because I am not a researcher and I don't really feel the need to prove myself on any of my astral projections. However, I do like to have little goals and set little intentions for my astral projection experiences, and this was kind of just a little bit of fun. So what I did is I have a set of Rider-Waite tarot cards, and I shuffled them and put them on my dresser with the intention of using my astral body to pick up the first card from the top and then come back into the physical and try and test myself and see if I could get the card right. My plan was to come into the astral through meditation, so I was meditating and it was the middle of the day. However, I ended up getting really drowsy, so I decided instead to just take a nap, which I did, and I wasn't expecting to astral project from that nap at all. But 15 minutes after falling asleep, I woke up in the vibration or the sleep paralysis state. So I floated above my body, and to be honest, I completely forgot about the tarot cards and I kind of just cruised around my house. I went out to my garden where I have a vegetable patch. In the projection, my garden was reversed and I had sunflowers instead of vegetables. So this quite often happens, and it's due to overlays. Basically what I find is that the further away I get from my body, the more overlays I start to get. Things in the here now start to change, and usually this comes from sort of subconscious overlays or overlays that are a little bit deeper. I saw these beautiful sunflowers and I decided to simply go and sit and be present with them. It was a super warm day and I was just enjoying being out in the sunshine and just really enjoying these sunflowers. After that, I went back to my body, and like I said, I completely forgot about the whole tarot card experiment, so I just went about my day. It was pretty uneventful. until that evening when I randomly decided that I was going to pick myself a few cards. So I grabbed my tarot cards and gave them a little bit of a shuffle. I picked 2 off the top, and what I got was the Sun card and the Queen of Wands. Now, if you don't know much about tarot cards, those 2 cards both have sunflowers on them, which in itself wouldn't be that amazing, but in the entire 78 card deck, those 2 cards are actually the only cards that have sunflowers in them. So that was interesting for me, and a good representation of how the inner world you might communicate with the outer world you. So anyway, that brief experience is just an example of how you might reach sleep paralysis through simply taking a nap. Do try the indirect method at nighttime first, using those 3 to 4 hour gaps between wake time and sleep time, because that is a really effective way for you to reach the sleep paralysis state. So there are a bunch of astral projection techniques that often take years to master, but I find this one usually only takes people a week or 2 max if they're really dedicated. So give this technique a try tonight and let me know in the comments below how you get on. In the next video, I'm going to be talking about how to connect with your spirit guides, both in the non-physical and just through everyday life. So make sure you subscribe because you don't want to miss that video. Until then, happy travels, and I will talk to you again soon.